We've built over 1,000 lead magnets for hundreds of verticals, and today I'll be sharing with you exactly how we build a lead magnet from start to finish that actually converts customers. So if you already have one and it's not converting customers, or you don't have one already, or you've maybe even felt like it's not important to have one, this video will be going over why it's important to have one, how we strategize it, the types of different lead magnets that we create, the stages in which that we go through in creating that, how we make it super simply, and then also how we position it, and finally be wrapping up with how we test it. So with all that nuance involved, I just want to be clear that if you are a business that generates leads and books meetings and sells on that call, whether it's in person, over the phone, or via Zoom, you're gonna want a lead magnet if you want any sort of inbound traffic. If you don't know me already, my name is Jake. I'm the founder of Adstra. We help service and SaaS companies book hundreds of qualified sales calls monthly using AI and paid ads. And so without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so we're gonna be starting off here with the different types of winning lead magnets. Okay, so if you don't know already, let's just talk about what a lead magnet is. Okay, Sabri Subi calls it a high value content offer. Lead magnet was first created by what we call .com Secrets, the book .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. And in that book, he talks about what's called a lead funnel. Okay, and that lead funnel always has a lead magnet. Traditionally, lead magnet, well, just to kind of wrap that up, it's a free thing you give away in exchange for somebody's contact information. Okay, and so traditionally, it's a report or a sheet of some sort, right? Checklist, toolkit, any PDF, document. It could be a video. And I would say that if you look at this on a continuum here, okay, you have scalable and unscalable. If you're starting out, I would go on the bottom end, unscalable, and this would be like your time. So you would give literally a free audit. But you can't just say free audit. You got to actually be like, hey, I'll personally sit with you for 2-3 hours and do the thing for you, right? That's a really unscalable yet really valuable. And so value is kind of on this continuum as well, up and down. So the more scalable, inevitably the less value it's going to be. What we have is a free report. And if you want to check it out, it's in the description. You can download it. But it is valuable only if you read it. And so the unscalable thing is therefore more valuable because the prospect spends less and less time doing it. Okay, now in between of these things, you can do, you can give away physical products if you're in that type of space. I know we have a coffee company that gives away free bags of coffee. I think it's a great idea. It can be digital, it can be tangible, it can be yourself. Really, any compartment of your business, any piece of what you do, if it can be given away for free, whether delivered digitally, whether delivered live or delivered by yourself as a service, okay? So those are all the things, and I can list many, many other ones. Ebook, okay? Checklists, toolkits, you have calculators. I know people are doing GPT bots now, which is pretty cool, right? We do that. We have a bunch of those in the free report as well. I would say if you're just starting out, you give your time. But if you're doing, 20, 30, 40, 50K per month, you should have one of these scalable ones. And the difference is if you actually make it valuable, which I'll go into that in a second, if you actually make it valuable, then it works really well at converting customers, okay? So this is kind of the stages, right? If you're just starting out, I would start at the bottom here at unscalable. And if you're still, if you're doing pretty well, come up here. But understand that I prefer to go to the unscalable thing. And I wouldn't say that GPT bot is unscalable. So I would say, most of the stuff here is probably up in the scalable section. Just consider if you're doing parts of your service or you're doing an audit or something like that, anything in that realm is going to be unscalable, but a lot more valuable. Caveat here is I just wanted to mention that you only have to give them to qualified people. So even if you're doing the unscalable one, like, hey, book a call, let's do a free audit, I'll give you 5 hours of my time, no pressure, no sales, nothing like that, you will actually get a good amount of people that come in, but you say, hey, look, you have to be qualified. You have to meet these parameters. If you are this, and this, then guess what? You can do it. But if not, no problem. So you get to choose when you deliver the freebie. Now, in the case for the report and stuff like that, you could choose also when you give it, but you might as well just give it to everybody. And so that's the stages, and that's the types of winning lead magnets that you can do. Now, how we strategize winning lead magnets, let me pull up. I have actually a process here. Let me pause and go find it. It's not here. I'm gonna have to go to this. Okay. So in our Sherlock Holmes, by the way, you can purchase that. If you get the $27 training below, you can purchase our Sherlock Holmes. It's a one-time upsell. And in here we have create perfect bait. Okay. And so what we first want to do here is consider the headline and the tagline. Okay. So this is the positioning of the lead magnet. Why this is mission critical is because what you name it, what the title of it is, and how the visually looks like, or the item visually looks like as a photo on the landing page, is going to bring in a certain type of person. Now, let me give you a perfect example. Okay. And by the way, we have bullets, and I'll explain what the bullets are in a second. If we can only work with companies doing over 500K per year, okay, that's what we can do, then your lead magnet must say that. Okay. Four ways, companies, e-com companies making over 500K, blah, 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 okay, can get the thing they want without the thing they hate, even if they tried this thing that everybody's tried. So that's how to get, how this avatar can get desire without number one fear, even if you tried number one obstacle. That's like the best headline you can create for a lead magnet if you want to steal that, okay? Because if you just say, hey, how anyone can do this thing, you're going to get anyone. And the beautiful thing about a lead magnet is you can bring in, from the get-go, you can bring in qualified people, which is great. That's the thing. You want to get people that are raising their hand and saying that I'm that person and I have that thing and I have that fear too. And I've also tried that obstacle and I want to see more about this. Okay. And so this is really where most people go wrong, is that they position their lead magnet to anyone and to anything. And if you look at ours says, how to book 100 plus demos without cold outreach. And what I will tell you is actually, in fact, I probably should position it just a little bit differently to the right avatar, because we do, it's not often, but it's inevitably going to happen, but we do get unqualified people into the door. Now, what I will tell you is that, I have other things that they can get in terms of value from me. And I personally, I'm in this business and I'm doing these YouTubes so that you watch this and then 6 months later, you're doing everything that I told you to do and you're making money, and now you're stuck because inevitably there's going to be another part that you're stuck at where you need to hire and you need to do other things and you don't want to run your ads anymore. And you say, hey, Adstra, hey, Jake, I've seen your face so long and I've read all your emails. Please help me, right? And so that's kind of what I'm in it for. But for you, you probably want to make money now. I agree. I think that's a good plan. So consider your positioning. Make it so that it is obvious that it's for this person, okay? And I'll give you a perfect example. We did a lead magnet for a home services company, and what we did was the 3 costly mistakes that homeowners make when they replace their siding, windows, and doors. And that's going to get people that have done it already, and maybe they were unhappy about it, or they are considering it, and they're also homeowners, right? So when you think of it like that, it's pretty simple. It's like if you already have one, or you're thinking about making, first of all, let's just talk about if you already have one, and it's bringing in unqualified people, and the sales cycle is slow, and you're confused as to who you're getting in. This is what you need to work on, okay? If you don't have one already, make sure you focus on, hey, who is my person? What do they look like? And what is their hard qualifiers? And how can I mention that in the headline? Like I said, 4 ways avatar, exactly the avatar, can get desire without number one fear, even if they tried the number one obstacle. Steal that headline. Now for bullets, you want to put bullets, like the page is going to look sort of like this, where you have headline, you have subhead, you have photo of the thing, especially if it's a free report, right? Calculator, you can screenshot the calculator, and then button here. And that should be on the phone screen. That should be above the fold. Everything should be above the fold here. And then at the bottom part, the lead in should be some sort of social proof. So like a Trustpilot screenshot or a testimonial or something. And that should be what the phone pulls up as soon as they get in. You can also include a little call out here for the person. Say, hey, tech owners over 500K, e-com business owners over 500K, homeowners in Charleston, South Carolina, whatever. All right. And that's what the page should look like above the fold. You can fit everything in. Now for the bullets should go below the social proof here. Bing, 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 bing. And the bullets should be like, the 4 mistakes that most people make. Think you need this, think again. If you download the free report in the description, you'll be able to get our copywriting bot that can help you write bullets. But you would like to, go on swipe.co or some of these other places, and look at what other lead magnets have in terms of the bullets, because the bullets is a good way to reverse risk, right? And to also handle the other fears or pains or obstacles that they might have. Okay. And so, for the home services company, it might be like, you might have hired somebody else and they didn't do your window correctly. And this is why you have, this mistake you made is why you have a drafty window, and how to make sure your siding lasts a lifetime, and, how to avoid $10,000 plus of costly mistakes when you consider getting new siding or what have you, right? And so you want it to be kind of curiosity based. Think you need this, think again. Okay. The 3 crazy mistakes that most folks make, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And so that is how I strategize and position lead magnet. And of course, this is not the video for it, but of course, after this page, they're going to go to a VSL, and that VSL will be, same kind of thing, but instead of the photo here, you're going to have a video. Okay. And that video is going to explain your offer, explain who's it for, and et cetera, et cetera. All right. There's another video on my page that you can watch about that. But moving forward. Okay. So making it easily. This is what's really incredible, is that if you do the Sherlock Holmes, if you get that, or if you go through our research process, there's another video that I have about that. I'm not going to go all the way into it because it is in depth, but if you want to do it yourself, $27 training, get the one-time upsell. If you want to just try to watch the video that I have previously, I do have our exact research process. You can watch that. Once you have that, you take all the information, okay, literally download as a PDF, okay, and you upload it into GPT or Gemini or one of these tools that have something called deep research. Now, our team has a prompt on this. I'm not going to share it because it is proprietary, but we have a very dense prompt on how we do this. And with the deep research, it's going to be able to provide backlinks. It's going to be able to provide statistical data. You're going to be able to push in your own client testimonials and stuff like that. And it's going to give you a very comprehensive and long, deep research report. It's going to take maybe an hour to print out, right? It just takes a really long time for this to work, but it gives you a McKinsey level, consulting level PDF that you can give away, which is great. And it's going to take a while. Take as much time as you need to prompt it and say, hey, look, you're a McKinsey level consultant and you're tasked to write a report for Avatar that's going to give result based on problem. Use these links that I provide and also find more for yourself, and then use these case studies and testimonials from our current clients. I want you to include this, this, and this as the points. Make sure you expand and elaborate and substantiate all your claims with data, and include all the necessary words that you need to be able to accurately describe this problem and provide a solution to the problem to this avatar. But imagine that they have a 3rd grade reading level, okay? And you want it more than that, okay? And you can continue to include stuff like that. And what it's going to do is it's going to spit out a beautiful PDF, okay? A really long doc. And, you can just do Google Doc. You can print it out as a PDF. You can make it pretty, right? This is how we do it because we are creating the scalable ones. But understand that if you're doing the unscalable stuff, having an audit, you just get on the call, right? A calculator is going to be specific to you if you're an accountant or something like that, right? A physical product is going to be specific to you. But if you want to go the scalable strategy and you want to get it something that actually is valuable, right? A report is going to be great. Just understand that not everybody's going to read it. And so if you want to make a video too on top of it, that's great. But you want it to be fast, quick value, something that is actually going to demonstrate expertise and actually solve their problem. Because here's the thing. Here's really the secret. The secret to this and making this work and convert customers is that it actually provides value. It actually demonstrates what you do or how you can help, or it actually demonstrates what their next best path forward is. And when that happens, you get customers. It's great. So if you're at this stage and you feel like you're getting the right person, but the people are not buying, they're not inquiring, they're not booking calls, it's because you didn't provide enough value. Okay? That's really what it is. And so try to not layer on more, but try to make it more succinct and provide more value. Okay. So that's an important point, is that something that is long doesn't mean that it's valuable. If you want to add in also, I know I added in for ours is I added in some just visual images and funny images and stuff like that to demonstrate something like that. You could do that too. Just assume that your prospect knows nothing about what you know, and your goal is to make it provide value as fast as possible, right? And this is how we make these PDF lead magnets very quickly. Now, like I said, you can be successful if you have something different. You have a GPT bot, if you have a calculator, if you have a toolkit, you have something like that. But focus on making sure that it actually delivers value, and it's actually something that you would want to download if you were insert avatar here. Okay, I want to hammer that point, because without this being valuable, then you're screwed. And so, if you have any feedback on my free report, you can download it in the description below. It is like 65 pages, and I think it's pretty dang valuable. We give a bunch of GPTs away and that whatnot. But do leave a comment if you have any questions about this type of stuff, because I just know that this is where most people get it wrong. And so, if you're looking potentially for us to review your lead magnet or help you make one, you can book a call with my team as well down in the description. But do not forget this important part, that really what you're looking at now and what you need is value. Quick, big, fast value, Alex Hormozi says, right? But it's the secret sauce. Give them the sauce, sell the spoon. All right, cool. So last bit here I want to go over is testing. All right, so when you go to market, you would ideally like to test 2 different ones. You're going to come up with multiple ideas, so you want to test 2. And when you test, you don't want to just look at CPL. You don't want to just look at cost per booked call. You don't want to just look at that stuff. You don't want to look at just see like which one's getting a higher take rate. You don't even want to just look at opt-in either. Okay, that's going to give you early indications of success. But what you want to look at is CAC. And if you have an idea what your CAC is, you want to test these to 2x CAC. So if you know your CAC is $1,000, okay, if you know your CAC is $1,000, then spend $2,000 on the lead magnet on ads until you pull it, until you cut it, okay? Because it may be, I've seen this before, it may be that you have a high CPL, a high cost per booked call, and a low opt-in, but you sell more people. Your CAC is lower. Okay. And so that's why it's important to, when you test this stuff, beyond testing ads, beyond testing other things, you want to test 2x CAC. You want to see it through. You want to give it some time. And this is I think, point number 3 of what I see with people is that, my lead magnet's not working. It's like, well, how many unique visitors have you had to the page? How many booked calls have you had from it? How much do you spend on ads for it? Because ideally you need to give it enough room to breathe and not just calculate, hey, how good is the opt-in rate? How many leads am I getting? Because that's just a vanity metric, right? Because at the end of the day, that lead magnet may be good, but it's just not valuable enough. Like, people are getting taken, but it's not valuable enough. And if it's not valuable enough, you're not going to sell anybody. Okay. And maybe getting a low CPL, but none of them are qualified. So you're not selling anybody again. So selling people is going to give you what I just spoke about earlier in this video. Strategizing your lead magnet, how to position it so you get the right person, right? Making it valuable. All right. And then the type of lead magnet too. So if all 3 of those that I mentioned before are all good, your CAC will be good. Okay, you'll be in a good position. And that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a comment. Let me know what I should do next. Please like the video too if you enjoyed, if this helped you. And then also feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to keep doing these. So either way, you can if you want. But if you like it, please do. And I'll see you next time. Peace.